on, Joker!
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 games that were too long.
Heard you wondering about my swords. Well, one's for monsters, the other for humans.
For this list, we're looking at games that eat up a huge chunk of your time to get the full experience. We're not saying any of these games are bad, in fact, many are outstanding, but they are all incredibly time-consuming. Let us know in the comments which one you have yet to complete. Now on to the top 10 that will finish long before you finish any of these games. Number 10, Batman Arkham Knight.
Back up! He's gonna get us! No chance!
After the small, enclosed areas of Asylum and City, Rocksteady finally gave us free reign to explore the entirety of Gotham. And they granted us a new tool to do this, the Batmobile. But though the Batmobile is a great concept, it gets old fast, and you spend a huge portion of the game destroying tanks, defusing bombs, and winning races in the vehicle. And if you want the Nightfall ending, not only do you have to do all the Batmobile content, but you also have to complete every single riddle. Even without this, the main story arguably drags on a little too long, with obvious plot twists lying in wait.
I tied her up and left her inside.
Why? What's Nigma's play?
I ain't got a clue. I just brought her here and planted some of these trophies nearby.
Number 9, Red Dead Redemption 2.
So we do this, then we go back to Blackwater to collect.
How many times you gonna ask the same question, Micah?
Opening on a brutal snowstorm in the northernmost part of Amberino, Red Dead 2 starts with a bang. But the story's pacing gets less and less cohesive the longer it goes on. The game suffers from prequel syndrome. Everybody knows the gang will fall apart and that many of them will die by the end of the game. The only question is, how? But after Guarma, this gets even worse, as the gang pushes on for one last chapter. And this seemingly endless expansion of the story is to the detriment of the climax's emotional weight. To get the full narrative experience, you also need to play through the entire hours-long epilogue.
Well, I ain't too proud to do nothing, as long as it's honest, and it pays.
Number 8, The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. One of the Switch's best-selling games of all time, it's easy to get lost in the minimalistic but beautiful world of Breath of the Wild. Woken from a long sleep, Link is once again called upon to defeat Ganon, going on a long quest to retrieve his memories and ultimately save Hyrule. But though this is a noble goal, the game can quickly bloat until you've spent almost 200 hours exploring, collecting, and crafting. If you really want to power through, you can actually defeat Ganon fairly quickly. But to get everything Breath of the Wild has to offer, you've got to sink a lot of time into it. Number 7, Persona 5.
Can you hear me? It seems you've been through a lot. Almost anything can happen here, and I can't stop them.
JRPGs aren't generally known for their efficiency, and Persona 5 is no exception. You're getting pulled along by the memorable story of the Phantom Thieves of Hearts for 100 hours minimum. It's almost double that if you want to manage your time fully to max all the confidants. And even longer if you pick up the extended version, 2020's Persona 5 Royal. Royal adds a brand new semester to the game, another Phantom Thief, and even a new villain. And with some of the palace's bosses made tougher, it could take even longer to reach the end. This is most definitely not a game for casual players.
Do you have the resolve to challenge the distortion of the world?
Number 6, The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim. At this point, anyone buying an RPG developed by Bethesda would probably feel shortchanged if they didn't get dozens and dozens of hours of content. And Skyrim remains one of the meatiest and most popular games they've ever made. But it's still faced with many of the same problems as other open-world games. Having too many meaningless quests that don't actually contribute to the narrative, and having plenty of story quests that overstay their welcome. On the bright side, The game is so immersive, you might not even notice you've spent 16 straight hours exploring Tamriel without accomplishing a whole lot.
I am that which you have been seeking.
Number 5. Fallout 4. The Fallout games are all known for having incredible depth, but Fallout 4 took this formula, which was already working, and added way more stuff on top, making it even harder to separate the wheat from the chaff. Not only were you being encouraged to follow a main story that gave players less agency than most would like from an RPG, forcing you to search for a missing son, but it was also full of radiant quests. No matter how few settlements you find, you'll always have to protect one of them. And so you're perpetually being distracted from Fallout 4's best feature, the genuinely unique side quests scattered across the Commonwealth. Number 4. Dragon Age Inquisition. While playing the most bombastic entry in BioWare's Dragon Age series to date, you may be compelled to ignore the story altogether and instead waste time gathering collectibles. Many of the game's biomes are far more interesting than the grasslands and woods you see most often. The scorching western approach and snowy Emprise du Lion are well worth exploring in depth, but you'll still be doing a lot of meaningless busywork. You've got to grab every resource you see for crafting, you've got to close all the Fade Rifts, and there's no small number of pointless side quests available from Scout Harding. Doing everything that pops up on your map means you might never get around to ending Corypheus's Reign of Terror.
You named your crossbow Bianca.
Of course.
Number 3. Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Spartans! Every breath that you have taken has led you to this moment.
Larger in any scope than any AC game before it, Odyssey gave players the entirety of ancient Greece and much of the surrounding archipelago to explore. Unfortunately, a large portion of the game was spent doing boring, repetitive tasks with little gameplay variety. Buried underneath all this is a great story about family ties, the shadowy cult of Cosmos, and a select handful of famous Greek monsters to battle in unique boss fights. But story progression is out of reach if you're not a high enough level, forcing players to spend hours looting treasure, capturing forts, and doing fetch quests if they want to see any of the good stuff. Number 2. The Witcher 3. Wild Hunt.
Anything else you can tell me about Hendrik?
Odd fellow. Arrived from who knows where and for no apparent reason.
One of the most critically acclaimed games ever made is CD Projekt Red's The Witcher 3. With an amazing plot, beautiful graphics, and an interesting and meaningful story behind every single side quest, this game makes every action feel both substantial and important. But there was one big problem. The game had so much content that lots of players never actually finished it, despite wholly enjoying all the time they spent on the continent. In fact, in 2020, CDPR developer Patrick Mills said that Cyberpunk 2077 was going to be shorter and smaller because so many people didn't reach the end of Witcher 3.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Metal Gear Solid 5. The Phantom Pain.
I'm going to change your appearance. We have no other choice. What you look like, however.
Take a look at the Metal Gear franchise and you'll find that most of the games take no longer than 20 hours to finish or even 100%. Not a monumental feat to accomplish, but when you get to Phantom Pain, you may as well say goodbye to your social life. The story alone is about 45 to 50 hours long, and if you want to 100% the game, it could take you a minimum of 150 hours. We repeat, a minimum. Had Konami and Kojima maintained a better relationship, the cut episode 51 probably would have added another 20 hours or so. It doesn't help that some moments in the campaign make the game feel a lot longer than it already is. Looking at you, Parasite Unit.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.